really like walking to school when I was a child. That's what I did. You get to meet the neighbors, you get to create community.
It's just what you did. You didn't even think about it. And interestingly, kids walked by themselves a lot to school.
All that independence. I'm going to school and I'm on my own to get myself there. And I always felt kind of, you know, grown-up-ish.
We would wake up and we were excited to walk because we knew we were going to meet our friends. We knew we were going to meet our classmates.
It used to be that most children walked to school. A generation, 2 generations ago, that was the way that the large majority of people got to school. Now only 12 to 16% of children walk to school. What Safe Routes to School does it works to counter some of the barriers, some of the things that makes it difficult for us to walk, so that we can again find a time where the easy choice for families is also the healthy choice for their children.
Feet First is a pedestrian advocacy and education organization, and the Seattle Department of Transportation really focuses on infrastructure improvements. And so using both of our specialties, we can address many of the goals of Safe Routes to School, which is education, enforcement, engineering. Working collaboratively with them, we can do more than we can just do by ourselves.
Walking to school is such a simple concept that people will often brush it aside without realizing the far-reaching power behind the simple action of walking to school with your children.
The Safe Routes to School program was just something that interested me because as John Muir has become more and more of a neighborhood school, it just made sense. With this particular program, we really are trying to focus on getting kids to walk to school if they're within walking distance, and to just make that a part of what they do.
I mean, that's one of the reasons we chose to go to John Muir. The beauty of having a neighborhood school is that you can take advantage of some of these things and not drive.
Okay, everyone, let's begin our walk to school.
So John Muir is part of the Safe Routes to School program. They were winners of a grant to participate, and every Wednesday in October we're going to have what we're calling walking school buses with crossing guards and people with flags, and so it's just a fun way for us to gather as a community, support our local school, and reduce our carbon footprint.
An overarching idea for a lot of what we do is the notion of healthy choices. Making choices that are healthy for your body, for your mind, for the environment, for the school, for the world.
Yeah, it helps the environment a lot.
For me personally, it provides a great way to spend some time before school with my son talking about the day.
It's always something new to discover. It might be something interesting that sparks a conversation that you wouldn't otherwise have. It's like a piece of trash that shows up on the sidewalk can be a fascinating addition to your walk.
We have re-engaged with our neighborhood in a way that I hadn't really even imagined would happen. So we're now using light rail in our neighborhood to get a couple stops up and a couple stops down. We run into people that we haven't seen in years. We run into neighbors that we really haven't engaged with other than just a friendly wave now and then. We're noticing things about the neighborhood I had never noticed from the car before.
I think that people drive even when they live within a mile or less because they think they're saving time. Yet when I'm going to drive somewhere, the chances are that I'm going to push it to the last second, and I'm probably going to be in more of a hurry. It seems more frenetic.
If they can convert a car driving person like me, sky's the limit.
I remember
hearing that 50% of all pedestrian accidents involving children occur within a mile of school. And it's scary. San Oso has a very dangerous intersection just east of the school where children, in order to get to school, are navigating very busy arterials for the most part.
It's like a valley. Cars come from both sides and hit the bottom here and go really quick. There is a crosswalk, but still cars would not stop.
Well, I was just walking on the street. I was kind of like thinking of my own thing, and I was just walking over the sidewalk.
He's in his own little world, and he didn't look left or right and stepped into the street, and the car didn't stop.
My mom shouted for me to watch out, so I just backed up.
If I hadn't been there, he probably would have been hit by a car.
The good of having safe routes to school in a school is the children get basic pedestrian safety training. And there is a heightened awareness through them and the parents.
They had groups of kids doing safety in the street, crossing streets.
Point to the place that you think is going to be the safest place for us to cross. What do you think?
They taught you about what different signals on their cars meant, and I never knew before that when it was white on the back, the car was backing up.
Thank God she was aware of it, because she was crossing and she saw another car coming, even though on all four sides the car stopped and the car was just passing one of the stopped cars, and she saw that. She was aware of it.
So I'm just going to tell you, when you walk on a road with no sidewalk, the best place to walk is on the left hand of the road.
Made me feel she understood. She got the message from the Feet First project.
When you give people permission to be critical of their built environment, they will take it in their own hands to change it.
Concord Elementary School is going to receive Safe Routes to School 2 years in a row, which is not like any other school.
Well, the school is a very diverse school. The largest population is the Latino population. We also have Native American, Somali students, and so forth. This is a neighborhood school, so you see a lot of people walking here.
We live close enough that I cannot imagine taking the car. It's just, it makes much more sense to walk.
But it doesn't feel always as comfortable as you would like it to be.
A lot of our kids that could walk to school right now don't walk to school. Partly that's because it's an industrial neighborhood. There are a lot of trucks, there's lots of traffic, we don't have crossing guards. It's not pedestrian friendly.
There is a route that it would take you straight to the school, but right now it's not very safe.
Sometimes all people need is a way to express themselves. They would never contact the city normally, but to give them the opportunity to have access, direct access to someone who works for the Department of Transportation who can actually fix some of their problems.
We're doing ground truthing, where we're actually on the ground identifying and spotting different assets, maybe some problem areas.
The walking audit is a very important first step in pedestrian advocacy.
Okay, everybody say walk to school!
Walking Audit is a chance for parents and teachers and people like me from the city to actually go out and take a look at what the physical conditions are around the school.
What we're going to do is we're going to scrutinize the neighborhood in terms of walkability.
And it's fine to look at a map, but nothing beats actually getting out there and looking at what's going on a street.
It's called a desire line. So the desire line is that people are desiring to go this way instead of walking all around to the front of the school. But in doing that, they're putting themselves in jeopardy of being right in a parking lot. So this is actually going to be fixed, so that'll be a great improvement.
What I saw in the walking audit was parents taking a real deep look at, What does my neighborhood look like?
Y no hay stop en ningún lado,
You know, things again that when we're driving to school perhaps might have been missed.
It's not safe for kids to walk by themselves in that area.
We're going to be able to give some feedback of what areas we think would help, you know, could be addressed to make it safer.
But normally they just kind of go cruising along here. Okay.
The kids, of course, are half our size and much closer to the ground, and so they bring a whole different set of perspectives. I remember they noticed saying there's a lot of poop on the sidewalk there. And the flowers, they noticed the flowers. Yeah, they definitely brought a different lens.
Yeah, I'm hoping as a 5-year-old, my son will be somewhat aware that, hey, you know, if you stand up and speak up for yourself, then things can get done.
Many of the people that live in South Park come from countries where walking is a habit. It's just something you do. So I don't think it's so much that we're going to do something different, but we're really going to go back and revisit some of those practices that many people have had in place before. So it's honoring, I think, the ways of being of many of our families.
Getting us on the streets, on our feet, getting us more connected with our neighborhoods, I think is tremendously important. I want my kid and every other kid to know who's a regular person in our neighborhood, who's someone that I say hi to on a regular basis and engage with, so that he's got more support in the community.
If my son could develop a sense of independence and security by walking to school, just simply the act of walking to school, I feel like I would be successful as a parent. If he can have fond memories when he grows up of the exciting things that happened to him on the way to school, I think that would be awesome.
Before I was walking with my kids by myself, and now going home there is a big bulk of people now that stick together and walk. So definitely a big change.
I'm a big believer in a crowd getting a crowd, so Safe Routes to School, we've built up this great momentum that people just be in the habit of walking to school.
I would consider it almost unhealthy if we weren't able to walk. So I must walk to see what's out here. I must walk to understand what's around me. I must walk and, you know, go on with our lives, but doing it walking.